Hello, and welcome to the Battleship Brawl Companion. I'm Evil for Zergan, and today I'm going to be reviewing Thetis and Achilles by Nobidexx. This is a two-ship entry. This smaller one back here is Thetis, and the larger one is Achilles. A historical note, in Greek mythology, Thetis was a sea nymph and the mother of Achilles, the main character, the most important character of Homer's Iliad. Also known for the phrase Achilles' heel because he was killed by uh, getting shot with an arrow in his heel, his one weak point. Now this is a mothership drone entry. You can see that Achilles' positioning here is clearly non-physical. That's because there's a docking port hidden inside Thetis here, the mothership. Nice historical reference there. If I can find it, here's the docking station. And the docking station holds the origin block in Achilles. If I can find it up here. Yeah, so here's the origin block, and the docking station holds it directly above. Now, one thing about the docking station is when a ship is docked, it is completely immune to all physics. That means no gravity, no buoyancy, no recoil. Very important for this one. So instead, if nothing else was happening, the ship would stay completely still. The docked ship. The one force that's applied to the dock ship is that the docking station can move the dock ship up to 30 meters per second to its preferred docked point, which is a point that's at a fixed position and orientation relative to the docking station. So as you see, Thetis is bobbing in the waves here. Achilles is moving along with it. The rate the rate of linear movement is 30 meters per second. The rate of angular movement is theoretically unlimited, but in practice it just sort of kind of lags behind the mothership slightly. So when you see Thetis bob in the water, you'll see Achilles following the bob at the delay of about, I don't know, a second or so. Thetis herself is completely unarmed. She consists of just a bunch of air chambers above the water, with some metal protecting the docking station and AI, and some lead ballast. There's a small engine and some quite small propellers. If I had to guess, probably not too much thrust was put on this ship in order to make it as stable as possible. Otherwise, Achilles is going to have a hard time acquiring targets. Let me drop the AIs here. If I'm reading the naval movement card right, Thetis will try to stay at just about maximum range for this tournament, where it's rather large and where Achilles' rather large and long-barreled guns will have the most relative advantage. So, just how fast is this entry? Well, let me fire the engines up. It's probably going to be going in reverse most of the time, so I'll do that. Accelerating, accelerating. And it's making just about 2 meters per second. This is a really slow ship. On the other hand, its turn rate is actually not that bad. If I turn here, you'll see Achilles is lagging behind a bit. But if I stop turning, Achilles will slowly move towards the neutral point. Turn rate is quite good because there's all these rudders down here. More than a dozen. But that's about it for Thetis. Let's move on to the drone, which is really the main ship since it has all the guns. Achilles. Achilles has 3 AIs, one at the top here, one roughly in the middle here, and way down here in this substructure is the 3rd AI. You can also see it has a bunch of these ammo barrels on these exhaust pipe sticks. These are probably meant as distraction. There's also some more ammo barrels housed in the very top of the superstructure and the very bottom of the substructure. So any aim point ship is going to probably be aiming well away from the main mass of guns. Achilles does have some backup propulsion, but if I warp to it here, we'll see that it has only 20 engine power. So it is more or less immobile, even more than Thetis is. So in some sense, Thetis is a bit of the Achilles heel. If Thetis is destroyed or disabled, Achilles is going to have a hard time acquiring targets. These fixed forward guns have the maximum traverse angle of 45 degrees, but I mean that's not nearly enough to cover the whole variety of angles at which it may be attacked. So Achilles looks very complicated, but most of it is these what appear to be these identical guns. Let me shrink the blocks here. So I've got 15 guns, all identical as far as I can tell, 1830 millimeters. The mix is 94.5 explosive and 36.5 hardening materials. That's a very good mix of materials. Their time after first impact fused. The barrels are extremely long, longer than you would expect from, say, a turreted design, which gives them extreme accuracy. The recoil is off the charts. Each gun has nearly 2 million recoil, but due to the docking station removing the physics, that doesn't really matter. They're set off to go off in a volley. Let me switch to the weapon controller. Okay, let's look outside. So when you're traversing a gun itself that is not using the turret rotation, the barrels are completely free to clip through any other objects on your ship. That's how these guns are able to get their traverse despite despite the barrels being completely shrouded by various types of armor. These guns are set at a delay to each other, so they fire one in sequence, as I'll demonstrate here. Well, okay, there is one pair there. I like this sequence fire. Often having them all fire together. I mean, you can get a situation where the first shell punches the hole in the armor and the second one goes through and explodes inside the ship. But at the same time, you also risk some over penetration. Like one might blow a hole clean through the ship, and then the rest just go through the hole without causing further damage to the ship. With crams being as devastating as they are, I generally tend to like the staggered approach better. Since we've been talking about guns, let's take a look inside. So, these barrels are... I mean, I haven't counted, but I'm guessing they're an odd number of parts, and with just one more motor-driven barrel than barrels. If you have this number of motor-driven barrels, you're guaranteed to have the maximum possible firing arc. This also gives a pretty good traverse rate for this size. Your traverse rate is determined by the ratio of motor barrels to their total number of barrels. If you had all motor barrels, it would traverse about twice as fast, but the accuracy would be quite a bit lower since these standard barrels are the best barrel for accuracy. Looking at the stats, the inaccuracy is just 0.21 degrees, so these are extremely accurate weapons. Muzzle velocity 191 meters per second, pretty much right up against the cap for a shell of this size. A longer barrel does increase muzzle velocity, although there are diminishing returns. With the highest possible being 200 meters per second for a 2,000 millimeter cannon. The pellet and ammo setup here is a 3x3. That's kind of small, so it's hard to get too many connections efficiently without using a large number of connectors. But to their credit, Nobidexx has made the arrangement where each one is being fed by 4 autoloaders. So this is quite efficient for a setup of this diameter. That's it for the guns. Let's move on to protection. The outside is made of wood. If we shrink the box again, we've got several layers inside of stone. Now I like stone, especially, well, I mean after the resource update. Now, back in the day, stone used to cost 30 natural, or 30 RP. Now they cost 2 materials. The nominal rate for materials to the old RP system is 10 RP became 1 materials, but several parts got off cheaper than this conversion ratio, and stone was a huge winner in this. It went from 30 materials to just 30 RP to just 2 materials, so you can get 50% more than the nominal ratio would imply. So it's been a big winner here, and it's good for having some decently thick armor, getting that stacking AC bonus without breaking the bank. The ammunition loading structure itself has these extra heavy armor beams to provide extra stacking to the outside layers. Compared to this, the AIs are redundant and make up a pretty small portion of the ship, so I wouldn't be worried about them being taken out. Finally, let's talk about the shape of the ship. We've got this, people call it a staircase for obvious reasons. We've got a wider top here. I'm guessing that the main purpose of this is to provide some extra top shielding for Thetis here. Because after all, if Thetis goes down, the Achilles is probably screwed. And then we've got this understructure here with rubber on the bottom. Probably to... So the depth in this... now I'm using the standard netter designer, but the depth in the tournament is just 50 meters, so this will help keep Achilles safe if Thetis does get destroyed and it sinks to the bottom. But the docking port does remove collisions even with the ground, not just other ships. So even if this part does clip into the ground, there'll be no problem. Just for fun, let's see what happens if I delete Thetis. So we're self-destructing Thetis. Achilles reclines back into the water. Unfortunately, Achilles doesn't really have that much in the way of ballast, so we're seeing that Achilles is kind of flopping over sideways increasingly here. See that the wood is providing a lot of buoyancy. I don't think there are any air pumps in Achilles. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Stone weighs the same as metal at 0.4 under the old weighting system. And water has a density of 0.37 about. So one block of wood can make a pretty large number of stone blocks float. So we see if without Thetis, Achilles will pretty much just flop over on its side. Now I can still shoot at anything roughly in front of it, but this is definitely not a position it would want to be in. Still, if it can keep facing towards enemy and with its narrow profile, except the amount needed to try to protect Thetis, and its massive forward firepower. 15 guns like this is quite a lot. Well, you don't want to be standing in front of this thing. Best of luck to Nobidexx in the rest of the tournament, and I'll see you next time.